Welcome back to Scratching the Surface. My name is Justin, aka Money,
And my name is Cody, aka Junes.
and this week we are diving, if you will, diving right into Night Swim. Just recently released, I believe, on January 23rd of this year already. So a lot of mixed reviews. I think, Cody, you've probably seen a lot of mixed reviews. We will dissect the hell out of this. We'll give you guys our complete thoughts. And, before we really get into our initial thoughts and as we dissect it, we just want to thank any of you guys watching, any new viewers, welcome. Make sure to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube. You can see our faces as well as just the full episode, obviously, in general, and on TikTok. Make sure to hit us up there. We have short clips from previous films we've reviewed. And just the day in the life of Money and Junes. So, and that's at Scratching the Surface 100. So, Junes, initial thoughts. Maybe talk about the trailer. I know you had a theater experience. What were your? Did you have any expectations? I should say first.
Money, this was one of my TikToks I posted earlier on. I think it was a month or so ago, and I had Night Swim #4 on my top 5 anticipated horror movies for 2024. And the reason I had it there is because of the fact that while the premise of the movie sounds exciting and seems new, I just didn't know if that would be able to hold up the rest of the film. You can only do so much off of that premise that we have here in Night Swim. I thought it looked good in the trailer. It was easy on the eyes. I think it was interesting. I think a lot of people probably did go to the theaters to see how this is. I was one of them. I thought the theater experience was great. We have producers here, James Wan, Jason Blum, obviously a lot of backing here for the director, Bryce McGuire. However, what worried me here, Money, is I didn't recognize a single thing from Bryce McGuire, and he seems pretty new to the game. So with those things in mind, it's just a movie that is going to look good, but is it going to actually be good?
Yeah, 100%. I saw the trailer just on social media as one most likely will, or if you're anticipating it, you'll keep an eye out for it. But to me, I had initial I'm like, the trailer looks okay. I'm curious. It's a Blumhouse production. I'm like, that gets me excited, but those can be 50-50s or hits or miss, if you will. And I'm like, we'll see. And sometimes, the bar gets raised when you have a really good trailer. And sometimes a lot of times it spoils the movie. I think of like Saw X, amazing trailer, but also a great movie. But sometimes when you have an overhyped trailer, like Thanksgiving, it could be kind of a shitty movie.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you get surprised. But I did not go to theaters for it. I did rent it off YouTube. I know it's streaming on a few platforms, obviously in theaters. Yeah, I think, my initial thoughts too, just kind of watching it, Junes, was, simple cast, simple family, very easy to follow. I just think throughout it was too slow, but it wasn't really confusing at all until probably, you got to get to the second half for sure. It's one of those movies. I just didn't know if I agreed with having like a haunted like pool, if you will. And I was so damn curious where I'm like, at what point is this, or like, are we going to start getting answers? Because how do you have a haunted pool? Like something's got to be going on. It just didn't make sense. I don't know if I really like the idea of the direction they were going in a lot of times, which we'll get into. In my opinion, they could have, changed it up or did something a little better, but it's kind of my just initial thoughts, dude.
For me too, it's a visually appealing film. It looks good on the screen. Of course, we
Yeah,
have some authenticity in the plot idea. I don't think I've ever really seen a lot of horror films that have a haunted pool. So this is
I
something that's
know.
different. The cast is okay. They work somewhat well together. The child actors did the best they could. I didn't care a whole lot for Ray, the father. The scares here, Money, also for my reaction after watching it, I'm like, I didn't ever really feel scared. And that's something that is unfortunate. That's something I'm always looking for, of course. There's a lot of
Right.
different ways to infuse fear into the audience, but I didn't feel really any fear here, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I love how you brought that up because fear factors and jump scares and overall feeling terrified definitely affects my score. So, um, and before I read the movie info and synopsis, we will have a table talk right about halfway through this. So stay tuned. So let's get into this movie info quick. Based on the acclaimed 2014 short film by Rod Blackhurst and Bryce McGuire, the film stars Wyatt Russell as Ray Waller, and former Major League Baseball player forced into early retirement by a degenerative illness, who moves into a new home with his concerned wife, Eve, teenage daughter Izzy, and a young son Elliot. Secretly hoping against the odds to return to pro ball, Ray persuades Eve that the new home's shimmering backyard swimming pool would be fun for the kids and provide physical therapy for him. But a dark secret in the home's past will unleash a malevolent force that will drag the family under into the depths of inescapable terror. If anybody listening can just put this in their head, like that is literally what this whole movie is. Very simple setting. The movie is literally it's entirely like based around this pool. Like there's so many scenes with it. Obviously it's about, that's the whole plot revolving around it, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it. So like we did say, this is a Blumhouse production film. The movie starts out in summer of 1992, so that was pretty cool. I thought, okay, we're getting like flashbacks, like something's gonna be happening here. And basically, there's this little girl. We learn her name's Rebecca later on, or Rebecca Summers. And she goes to get Tommy, and he's on a hospital bed, and we know that they're all in this house, so there's a relation there. And we see a nurse. She goes outside though. She spots this boat, and it's Tommy's basically. And you can almost anticipate something's gonna happen. She has that pool net, if you will, that extends like 20 feet, and she's like reaching and reaching, can't grab it. I'm like, all right, she's probably gonna fall in. She almost falls in, and then she eventually does. And what threw me off too is, and I like this at first, I did, but my thoughts kind of changed throughout it. She sees like an illusion of her mom, and we see that with other characters. Throughout the film, they start seeing illusions, but again, she gets baited by the boat surfacing again, and she basically disappears. And then we get our title card, if you will, for Night Swim. So, what were your thoughts just on the opening scene there?
I gotta say, the opening scene is probably my favorite moments from the film. If I'm being honest, I enjoyed it.
Oh, I
We
bet.
get a little introduction to this ominous pool. There's something lurking beneath. So when you see Rebecca out there trying to grab Tommy's boat, you're just you're like, please stay away from the edge, Rebecca.
I
You
know.
are one little step from falling in, and who knows what happens. That's a deep pool. It doesn't take much. I mean, for me, if I pull my hammy and I go into a pool, I might not be coming back up. So for a child, especially very dangerous. I like how dark the pool looked in the opening scenes. Like what's down there, what's lurking down there. I love the look of it. I also like the idea of the boat, kind of going down, submerging into the pool, and then slowly coming popping back up. I thought that was really cool. Definitely a good opening. I think it's a little bit false hope for the film. I thought it
Hmm.
looked good. I was excited. Where do we go from here? We will see, but this is a strong opening.
Yeah, yeah. That's a pretty valid statement to be like, yeah, this is probably my favorite part of the movie was this opening scene, and I could picture a theater experience that would be like really good in the theaters to have that. So I'm gonna go through two while I'm at it. The cast, we got the father, Ray Waller, played by Wyatt Russell. We have the mom, Eve Waller, played by Carrie Condon. Then their daughter, Izzy Waller, in the movie, played by Emil O'Farrell, probably butchering that. And then we have their son, Elliot Waller, played by Gavin Warren. And then there's like a real estate agent. I believe that's what her role is in the movie. Kay is just her name. They call her Kay, played by Nancy Lanehan. And then we have Lucy Summers, who is like the mother of Rebecca, who we see in the opening shot, played by Jodie Long, and some other side characters I'm not really going to get into, but that's like your core cast. The core of this film is just this family, basically. So very easy to follow, which I love. So with that dust settling, we have, we get introduced to the family. We have Ray and Eve. We learn that they're the parents, and we see this family moving into potentially a new house. And we learn that Ray got hurt and he's trying to get better. And they kind of stop to look at this new house, and we see the two parents out by this empty pool. I think they visit one house, they leave, and they spot another house for sale, and they go check it out. Not only to know that this is the same house we got in the opening shots. So I like the simplicity of it at first, and then my viewpoints kind of change, and we'll get into that. And he is out they're out by the pool, and he's like, man, like, we always had a pool, or he's reflecting on the past. And Ray reaches down to try to get this old baseball, and we know that he played in the past, and he falls in, dude, and like that feeling of like getting trapped in that pool cover, and you're just like wrapped in it like a cocoon underwater. Oh, that gave me like some Descent vibes, like claustrophobia, like, oh, like I hated that. So, and apparently he had like MS, and needs PT. But we have like a good kind of like 15 minutes here where we get introduced to K2, that agent, I believe. And this first whole act and like even second act are so damn slow. Like there's just not a whole lot that happens. Like I want to be, going into detail, but like I feel like, I could be very general just because of how simple it is. Do you agree, or would you like,
Yeah,
or like,
you're gonna have
because
that from some films, and this is one of them. Its overarching description is pretty much all encompassing for the entirety of the film. There's only so much you can really
yeah,
talk about for some films, and that's what we have for your Night Swim. I wasn't expecting the idea of the dad being a baseball player, having
I know.
MS. It was different. I was definitely thrown off a little bit. That's not typical to see in a horror film, but it does let us know that our main protagonist, the strong father figure of the family, is susceptible to either dying or being weakened and able to be overcome by something. And we do have something, a force within this pool. And
Mhm.
a common theme we see with Ray through the whole film is he's kind of reminiscing on his best days as a baseball player. He wants to get back to where he was, almost to this false belief that maybe I can play again someday.
Yeah, but basically, we get introduced to the kids, like I mentioned, Izzy and Elliot, and they basically end up moving into this house and get the pool fixed, with a repairman coming out, after some like weird black shit comes out. And Ray, this is very important because I do want to talk about this very briefly, but Ray cuts his hand, uh, putting it down like the drain to like unclog it. Very small detail, but very
Yes.
important for later on. Yeah, I just think like the next things following up from that are like the next or that night is upon us, and Eve actually goes out to just go do some night swimming herself, and actually sees like an illusion of Ray, which is actually pretty like fucking creepy.
Yep.
Um with his cane just like standing over, and you could just see him out of the water, like when she like that was actually pretty good.
Mhm.
That like subtle just like suspense, the way they create suspense, and they did a lot of it in this movie, not really with like insanely scary jump scares, but she comes back to like confront him, which I liked. It was pretty realistic, like, they have a good conversation. He's like, no, I was here the whole time. So she has that in her head already, like, am I like tripping out?
Mhm.
So, and then each kind of character has this moment, we'll briefly talk about it coming up. And they actually have a cat too. I think I have its name down somewhere in my notes. I can't remember.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. We see the collar floating in the pool. It skips to like the next morning after that, and they're all like the kids are obviously sad, more sad, but the Ray's like, it probably just ran off or something. We kind of hit now. I kind of like these doctor scenes, where they do these quick visits, because we get updates about Ray. So the cut he had on his hand too magically healed. Literally just healed. He took his band-aid off and it was healed after coming like back inside, when the cat went missing. He's like so confused. So that's like another thing. Probably you don't think about it, but you're just like, what the fuck? Like,
Mhm.
how did this happen? So like the next morning, Ray, goes to the doctor, he gets more tests, and like he is basically a healed man at this point. Like they've never seen anything like it.
We've got that little scene there when they're at that
It was
baseball practice, and they're
Yeah,
having him hit a couple for the hell of it
that
because
comes up
he's an
too soon.
MLB player. He's an MLB player, so all these kids obviously want to see him hit a ball.
Yeah.
He struggles on the first two. Obviously, it's been a while since he's swung the bat, but on the third one, he transforms, man. He becomes better than what he was before, and he smokes the third pitch way out into the outfield. I think he hits one of the lights at the baseball field. So, like you said, it almost seems like this is a healed man.
Yeah, it's like he didn't even know what he did. He's just like they talked to the doctor and he's like, "Yeah, well, I'm doing water therapy like twice a day." And Eve says something about a diet they're on, and she just couldn't believe it. It's such great news. They go back, I think they kind of like celebrate or something. They're just everyone's in a good mood, so it's good to see that. What happens kind of next is we see these coins in these scenes too, where they play a coin game. They just throw coins and you go retrieve them. Whoever has the most coins comes out victorious. We see that multiple times in this film. And Elliot has his own kind of little scene too, where he goes swimming by himself and
Yes.
he sees like an illusion as well. And we see I think this is the first time where we see this entity, a dark shadow. That happens a lot too, throughout this film. And kind of following that, I don't know if you have any notes from that, Junes, but
I will
um,
say,
go
when
ahead.
we have Elliot in the pool, there is a significant moment when he finds in the side drain there of the pool, I believe he finds something that a girl named Rebecca gave him. What did she give him? I can't remember.
Well, he had an action figure, I believe, that like floated away and got stuck in
Yeah.
there.
Yes.
Because
Yes. The
are
action
you talking
figure.
about when he reaches his hand in and pulls
Yes. When he
that out?
reaches his hand into that side drain. Yeah.
Yeah, because Ray also painted a little smiley face on a quarter
Yes.
and he stuck it to it. And then yeah, he pulls some literally hair out, and I'm like, what the hell? So this is like where I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe Rebecca's controlling it. Like I didn't have a clue what to think. That was
Yep.
my only like plausible. I don't know if you're thinking throughout this film in the theater, like maybe not because you're at the theater, but like, oh, like what, how is this gonna like lay itself out? And I'm like,
Yep.
maybe she's haunting it. It would make sense. She died in it, so um, yeah, he goes like screaming back inside, and things happen, dialogue happens, and they think he's just like being imaginative and like making this up. Where where are you at in this point, Junes, with the film?
The issue I have here, Money, each of our characters have had moments in the pool. They
Yeah,
were all scary at times, but I can't remember specific moments being that scary. And that is
no,
what is unfortunate. We are in this pool. This is where the evil lurks. We should be scared from these moments. And
yeah,
frankly, I wasn't that scared. And I don't even recall those specific moments that were frightening enough to instill that memory in me of those frightening moments. I just
mm-hmm,
didn't have
mm-hmm,
that, which is so unfortunate. Obviously, Izzy's moment in the pool, the main one in the trailer, was
yeah,
solid, but it wasn't anything grand by any means. And that's the thing for me that really hurts going into the second half, because I was thinking the whole time these pool scenes are going to be fucking scary as shit. They
yeah.
weren't. They just weren't. I've enjoyed some of the storylines so far leading up to the end of the first half, but all in all, just okay here, Money. I think we're leading up mainly to a pool party.
Yeah, the pool party's coming next. And two, I just wanted to hit on what you said too. Like the way they filmed this pool, pretty good. Like lighting, of like effects, the darkness, the eeriness, pretty good. But like it just shows shots of like the bottom floor drain, like the side drain. Like they do coins. Like every little character kind of has their moment with it. It involves shit with the diving board, like the deep end. Like it just didn't hit home at
Yeah.
all for me. It seemed cheesy. Like, and
Oh my
again,
gosh. I was literally about to say the word cheesy. I also thought the dialogue here and there was just kind of cheesy. There was a moment when
yeah,
he's when Ray's lifting weights and he's like, "Hey, come here, son. Hey, throw this weight on for me." I'm
it's
like,
like
"Okay, that's
throw
just
the
so
25
random."
on,
Like,
throw the
it's so
25 on.
random. Why the fuck
Yeah,
put that in there? He's like,
yeah,
go out and throw a coin in there. I'll be out in a minute." I'm like, "Okay,
yeah,
what a
yeah.
badass." Anyways, so the first half is okay. It's nothing special.
I think the pool party kind of iterates the second half because it
Yes.
does pick up a little more. Some things start to happen with other people, so we can hop right into table talk here. So,
Let's do it, brother.
for today, we will be doing surprise, surprise, another blind ranking, and this time we're gonna rank horror movie franchises, and it's gonna be a good time. I freaking love these. The past two episodes we just did films, so
Yep.
I had the fun idea of being like, hey, let's just rank horror like movie franchises. So, um, June's, I can go. You can read yours to me first if you want. Um, if you're down, otherwise, vice versa.
I will read yours first, Money. I
I'm gonna.
cannot wait to see where you go with these. I love the idea because horror franchises are a huge part of this genre. And I
Yeah.
think they give a lasting legacy to this genre of film that go beyond just one-offs, man. It's something that lasts decades and decades of time. And we see some franchises that will continue doing what they're doing, man, 100 years from now. I think that's a pretty fucking cool thing. So I'm really jazzed to get into this. The first one, Money, I have for you is Evil Dead.
Ooh. I think very underrated. I think it gets a lot of hate. Ugh, dude, I want to put it at like two, but I got to go three. I'm gonna set the bar with it at three just because I don't know what you have in store for me. So, loved Evil Dead Rise as well. Check that episode out, you guys listening.
I think it's a
Setting
little
the
bit
bar.
slept on. I think it's a franchise
It
I want
is.
to
It
dig
is.
into more because, good God, they're also highly rated. Anyways, after Evil Dead, Money, I have for you Insidious.
Oh God. Arguably some of the scariest movies people have seen. I'm gonna go two, just for the
I
scare
like it.
factor.
I
I
like it.
mean, that's just me.
I would probably give it the edge just barely over Evil Dead. It's so goddamn
There,
close, though. I can't.
that's why I
They're
had to
pretty
set.
interchangeable, frankly.
They are.
Money's got Evil Dead at 3, Insidious at 2. The next one I have for you, Money, is Friday the 13th.
I I'm gonna go five.
Ooh, really?
Well,
I'm
no, I'm going
actually
four.
shocked. You
I'm
are the
going four.
slasher man.
No, I'm going
You
four.
okay? The next one I have for you, Money, is The Purge.
God, dude, I have the one and the five. I gotta go five. I don't. I think you're gonna throw a banger in the end. Hopefully,
At number 2, you have the Insidious franchise. At number 3, the Evil Dead franchise. At number 4, Friday the 13th franchise. And at number 5, The Purge. Money, are you nervous?
I am. I You better throw a bang. I hope this is a banger. If not, dude, oh well. This is it.
The last one I have for you, Money, is Leprechaun.
Oh my God. Okay. I I've seen because isn't there multiple film? Yeah, obviously there's multiple films. I've only seen one of them, and I don't even remember which one. Um, damn, that
That's
sucks.
tough, Money. Taking the L on the number 1 spot.
Is what it is. So I'm gonna do I'm gonna do you pretty decent here, but I hope I give you a hard time. So just like you gave me a hard time. So I have to go with this freaking poster, dude, I have behind me. That's what inspired me to do
Yes.
the franchises in general. So I'm first. I'm probably gonna throw at you for your first one, Junes. I'm gonna throw Saw at you, the Saw
I
franchise.
loved revisiting Saw when we talked about Saw X. And I had a realization, a come to moment where,
Because, dude, where do you rank this? Like, there's 10, 11, 12 movies. There's ups and downs, but Saw X was so freaking good lately. Like, recently just came out.
I mean,
This
half
is
of those films, nearly half, are
nearly half.
pretty watchable. So I'm
Nearly
going to
half.
go a strong, because I really don't know what you're going to throw in here, a strong number 3. Because, no, I take it back. I feel like you're going to fuck with me. I'm going number 2, Saw franchise, number 2 for me.
Okay. So your next one, June's, I am going to throw Friday the 13th back at you.
Even though I didn't really care for the character, I didn't
Hmm.
really care for the kills that much. it was just kind of sort of in a weird, twisted way, comforting to me. I don't know why, but I'm going to go number five. I think there's going to be something on here I like
Ooh,
more.
fair enough. Fair enough. For your third franchise, I'm going to throw Chucky at you. And I feel like this is a very bipolar franchise with how people feel. There are
Chucky
people that
himself is
love
a
it.
bipolar character, man. Yeah.
I know. Lots of people just hate it, though, I feel like.
Certainly not my number three here. That it would be a sin to do that. So I'm going Child's Play Chucky at number four.
So, your fourth franchise, Junes, I am going to throw Leatherface and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre at you.
I'm scared. So I'm going to take the safe pick here. Unfortunately, going to take a little bit of an L, but I am putting Leatherface at number one.
Ooh, Leatherface at one.
You're going to kill me here.
No, maybe. I have to, dude. Again, I'm sticking to my poster. Halloween.
Damn it.
Halloween.
That's unfortunate. It's not a perfect list. It isn't.
It's the whole point of it, man. You blind rank and you
Yep.
just you get surprised every time. So trying to hit that perfect list still. Haven't had that, but haven't
Really,
done it
though,
that much. But
there's at least one film that just totally throws the whole list on its freaking side.
right. So um that wraps table talk up with money in June. So as always, Junes, it's been a blast doing that with you. I freaking love doing these. And who knows what we'll do next time, maybe another one. They're
Mhm.
always so fun. Getting back to the movie, Night Swim. So I think we kind of paused right up before this pool party that they're kind of hosting, quote unquote, for like the whole neighborhood. Invite everybody, bring them all over, is what they say. So they want to they want to have their kids make friends. That's like a huge important thing for them because moving in the past with Major League Baseball, if you get traded, you know, I'm sure he did quite a bit. You move around, it's hard on the kids, it's hard on the wife, whatever. We've all heard that, you know, before in a movie or two at some point. So they want what's best for the kids. So they want to host this party for like neighbors, the neighborhood. It ends up being like the whole neighborhood, it seems like. And not a whole lot happens here aside from the fact that Ray is like playing chicken with quote unquote I think he said like steroid Hulk or something. This giant, this jacked actually dude in the pool. And if you don't know what chicken is, you put someone on your shoulders against another person with someone on their shoulders, and you headbutts and you try to knock each other off. Whoever's on the shoulders tries to knock the other person off, and he gets possessed. Like we start seeing again, and I actually kind of like the way they filmed it as far as like the effects. Obviously it's like CGI. I don't know if anything was practical here at all. Maybe the scene with Rebecca Summers' mom, Lucy, with like the tear, black tear, like that could have been practical, but I doubt it. I don't know. And he gets possessed. He the boy on his shoulders is actually the head baseball coach's son, Ty, I think, is the kid's name. And he's like, Ty, where are you? And then like he's underwater, he jumps in, grabs him, and Ray's like full on possessed. He gets like super strength. He's like Hulk himself. And they pull him out, the boy Ty out, and like it's just a huge scare, and the dust kind of settles. And, I mean, like that's really all I got from the pool party. The only other thing too, Junes, important, maybe not important, but Elliot actually films the whole thing with the camcorder, Ray's camcorder. He steals out of the garage. So
And Eve also had an experience like we've talked about. So she was feeling very uncertain about doing this pool party. She had a worry in the back of her mind. And I love the moments when she's talking to Kay, the realtor that sold him the house. And Kay reveals to her because Eve knows there's something up with this place. She pries a little bit to Kay. Kay, tell me what happened here. I know the pool
yes,
is there's something off here. It might just be a suspicion. I might be just wildly off, but can you please just, if there's something, tell me. And Kay does reveal that Rebecca, a child, went missing from this family. They never found her. And this kind of, I would say, inspires and motivates Eve to go deep diving into investigating all of the history at this location. And she finds a lot of history. I think this went back hundreds of years, even.
There's a lot of people that must have been sacrificed, died in this thing. So I don't know why you wouldn't tell her in the first place in the beginning. I get it. If you're trying to sell a house, it's whatever, but you want to try to hide it as best as you can or something, whatever. Like, I get it. The pool party's over, whatever. It kind of is getting dark out, and they're in the car, and Ray like gets possessed, like it takes him over, and he kind of like starts choking on like nothing. I mean, he wasn't eating anything, he wasn't drinking anything. He just starts like suffocating, and they all start like freaking out. They have a scare in the car with him. Um, and this entity again is just like controlling him, and uh, they bring him back home. He's just in bed, and he's like expressing how bad he wants to go back in. And she's like, "No, like you just almost like died twice today. Like what the fuck? Like no, like stay in bed. Like we need you to just stabilize you." They keep mentioning, getting him stabilized whenever something happens, and uh, see what they can do as time comes. Really, Eve starts to research Rebecca Summers at her work, basically at the school, and she basically goes to visit Lucy Summers, again played by Jodie Long, who's Rebecca's mom. Junes, what did you think of the hodgepodge stuff kind of between there and this whole scene with Lucy, basically? Because obviously vital, critical. We learn then. I mean, like this is a huge part of the plot too. So
It confirms the suspicions that Eve had when she was investigating. And when we get to
yeah,
the house there and they're talking, it seems as if Lucy has good intentions. She seems like a nice woman. Everything is totally fine. She's living in this nice, fancy house. She's talking about her son Tommy, who has went on to do really good work. I can't remember if he worked for the government or what he was doing, but he was very successful.
yeah,
And we saw Tommy was the boy in the opening scenes of the film. He was the one that was suffering with some kind of ailment. He looked like he was potentially on his deathbed. He, like you
hmm
said, needed nurses to keep him alive. So we are slowly revealed by Lucy that for Tommy to survive, a life had to be taken. And it gets more ominous the more the dialogue progresses. And she reveals that she was taken. Rebecca was taken by this entity, and Lucy knew about it. Lucy pretty much was kind of the instigator on the whole thing. And she was saying that in order for someone to live, you have to give a sacrifice.
yeah.
And this is when we start seeing the effects, the digital effects transpiring, the black veins, the black teardrops coming out of Lucy's eyes. These are actually pretty frightening moments. I thought
That
they
was
were
pretty
quality.
cool.
Definitely shocking for me. Eve now knows all bets are off. My family's at risk. I have to go back. We have to try to fix this thing. And we have some good moments here in the final act that are enjoyable between the family members. Obviously, they all want to survive. I think we have some really good moments at the pool specifically.
Yeah, this whole scene, dude, was obviously vital. Like you said, all bets are off. Like we know she, quote unquote, Eve was scratching the surface, getting to the bottom, getting to the bottom of this. She figured it out, dude, and it all confirms everything she had suspicion about. So she knows she's got to get back, and somehow, this too, dude. I was like, how is she gonna convince anyone of this? What the hell just happened to her? Like, is anyone gonna believe her? Are they gonna move? Like, she's gonna get back and like just tell the family, like, or just have a conversation with Ray. Like, I don't know. Like, I was very curious to see what was gonna portray now.
The issue I have here, Money, is some of the choices made are highly questionable. Why in the world, if you were Eve, I understand that you're trying to figure this out. Why would you leave your family with the father, Ray, that you know is struggling and potentially could have your children at risk? I don't
Yeah,
know why she would do that. I thought that was a highly questionable decision. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know if it's just to progress the plot. That probably is why, but I don't think it's well placed. I don't understand it. And when she gets back, I believe Elliot was in the pool and he was swimming into it.
Yeah, we see that Ray is like we have a cool short like it's almost like if you blink you'll miss it, but like a few seconds of him like getting full on he's like full on now possessed. Because he's like groaning, almost doing that choking thing in the shower, and then he's like and he like stands still like he's recuperated and it's like boom, he's like fully taken over. So um and dude too, we see Izzy. Now we got a cool I think this is probably my favorite scene, this little chase scene in the house. Um he basically is possessed, like I said, and we see like I think it was Elliot, he had a glass of water and you could actually see like black little droplets in it too. Like even the house water is infected from Ray like taking a shower and the pool just being the way it is. He hears Cider and he's out on the diving board. He thinks it's the Cider's on the floaty. We see a cool like female actually like entity uh pop it and pull him in and trap him in that too, like the tarp from Ray earlier in the beginning. And he gets sucked under. And we have like a 10-minute scene now with basically to sum it up, Ray chasing Izzy in the house, and then Eve running out to try to save Elliot. So these two things are happening simultaneously. Um, and the chase scene with Ray and stuff is probably my favorite if I had to pick. And we eventually see all the people that have died in that pool as, you know, entities or people floating around in there swimming with her. Dude, to me, this just like, it's like simple to follow. It just like, a part of me just like seemed so like thrown off by some of the decision making and like it didn't make sense to me at all, like how they went about this. Because to me, it just seemed like a lot of dull things happening, and it wasn't that scary.
I'll just say at
Obviously,
the theater, I had to piss really bad halfway through the movie in the theater, but the fact that I was even checking my phone beyond that frequently to check the
oh,
time just goes
oh
to show
god,
how I was feeling. I think a lot of the chase scenes with Ray and Izzy, while somewhat frightening and impactful,
yeah,
just weren't that great. I like the idea somewhat of there being an ocean underneath this drain, almost another separate pool where the people are trapped, all these lives that have been taken by this entity. I think that's kind of cool, but just for me, it's not resounding enough. It doesn't have enough weight. And I think it just kind of overall for the ending, there's just not a whole lot of lasting effect. And for me, I also think the sacrifice we have coming up here just also is not containing enough substance for me to care.
also I need to touch on this for my sake. Izzy, when she's locked in the garage, of course, cheesiest thing, a shot, it pans to the wall of the baseball bat, dude. And
So stupid.
I'm like, oh
Who
my God. Like,
cares?
oh, here we go. Big league slugger coming out to, you know, the irony in it. It's just like, dude. And also, what pissed me off was they basically beat the entity out of him with like a couple swings from Izzy to Ray's stomach or ribs,
Yes.
whatever. And and then they pukes it out. You know, classic like, oh, you're possessed, you puke it out. What like we've seen that in The Conjuring and shit. But like she just takes a few swings and then Eve's like, no, 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 let him. I think he's better. And then all of a sudden he's like better. And then he's like, I know what I have to do. Walks in, has an off-screen death, and then like the next day is here already. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And then the next day's here and I'm so confused. And they basically the way the movie really wraps itself up is they fill the pool in with dirt. They drain it first and then they fill it in with dirt. They decide to live there because that's what dad would want. And they I mean they consider moving but no like you know but they're like, oh, we don't want anyone else to suffer. That's what dad would want. We're gonna stay. What and like none of them have any emotion like remorse towards the father. It just is all over the place at the very end. I think it was a terrible ending, but like smart move obviously to prevent altercations in the future with any other families. So it's a bold move, but again, hardly any emotion at the end. We don't even see Ray, like, he's just gone. Like, we never see him again. They do end it, I think, with like a tape recording of um him reflecting on his kids, his love for them. I don't know, man. Like, again, I said that from the beginning. I'm like, this could have been a way better ending, but when you have a haunted pool, I'm sure directing this was difficult in terms of how are we gonna wrap this up?
Doesn't make
Just
sense. The fact that all it takes is a couple swings of a bat to knock this entity out, that's just so stupid to me. There's just no care. There's no investment for me at the end. I don't know. That's just my ultimate thoughts on it. You can think of words, but that's just all there is to it. And I think a lot of people probably feel the same. And that's why I am so goddamn curious to see what the scores are here. We do our best to avoid looking at the scores on Rotten
yeah.
Tomatoes, on IMDb. We do our best as well as not knowing what each other's scores are. So I'm very, very
Yep.
curious to see what we have.
Rotten Tomatoes, as of now today, has an audience score of Night Swim releasing this year at a 42%. Okay. Critic score of 22%.
Holy crap.
Yeah, not good. This is not good from a Blumhouse production. They seem like they've been striking out lately, and I can get into mine. It's just this was horrendous, dude. So slow, terrible pacing. Everything was predictable, even from a scenes with scares with coins, the diving board, drains, the standing on the edge. It's like this felt like an amateur movie, like a 10-year-old could see it and know what's going to come. And I knew from the beginning, like, this was going to be a very questionable movie, very skeptical, even based off the trailer. The trailer did do a pretty damn good job, because they did have that scene with Izzy and Ronan, her like swim team crush, whatever, boyfriend, and they played Marco Polo, and that was actually a pretty good scene. Like, it was, I don't think it was that hyped, but like it was okay, like you said. It was just okay. So, um, and just the ending, dude. Like, because I'm sitting here watching, I'm like three-quarters in. We get the pool party, whatever. Ray has his moments. The way it does end just really, I get it. Like, it's a curse. You got to sacrifice someone, but like it could have been so like it could have been so more intriguing. There could have been a lot more action. I will probably never watch it again. To be quite frank, I know I'm roasting the shit out of this, and maybe you didn't get those vibes from me in the beginning, but we got to have our dialogue. We got to share our
Yes.
opinions. So, Night Swim, dude, it's just not good. So, um, with all that negativity, being said, I'm looking at our previous ranks and movies. I'm going to probably, dude, I'm placing this with a ranking of 4.1.
Ooh.
I'm right with the audience, not with the critics. The critics are, I mean, again, they're 22%. Like, they cut my score in half,
That's
literally.
crazy.
And yeah, so June's, dude, I know you can be a hard critic sometimes. I don't think, from what we talked about, and if we have similar thoughts, I don't think you really enjoyed this movie as much as you'd like to as well. So
I will just start this off by saying I have a hard time going under a 3 for movies. They have to be very, very bad. Just absolute trash. I don't think Night Swim is that bad. I don't think it warrants a 22%. That is very, very harsh. While I
yeah,
understand why you would give that for the critics, I just can't in good conscience put it that low. I think here we have a initial plot that's creative. It's authentic. We have a pool that has this entity that can capture people and consume them. I think that on a surface level is, I think, interesting, intriguing
hmm
enough to get me to go and watch this film. The pacing is just very middling. The dialogue is just straight up cheesy at times. We've mentioned that word a few times. And I had no investment in the characters. I really, outside of Eve, the mother, I could have cared less about what was going on. The stakes just were not high enough for me. The scares were not impactful at all. Frankly, I thought the look of the entity was just a questionable choice. This fat kind of looking, I don't know what you would even call it. It was just a fat dude with some
Yeah.
slime. He didn't look scary at all to me.
Nope.
There were some jump scares here and there that I will say I jolted maybe once or twice in the film, but that was it, man. And none of it was
Yeah.
actually truly frightening,
And you're in
which
a
is
theater
unfortunate.
too.
Yeah,
Like
you're in
it's
a
going to be
theater, which
loud.
helps the experience, but you should be jumping, man. If I only jolted once or twice, I mean, come on. And then we have an ending that is just so dumb, honestly.
Yeah.
We're making decisions just to further the plot. That's all it was. We're making just decisions that logically are not sound, but progress the film to its final
Mhm.
end. And the final ending was just not logical at all. It was not sensical for the dad to just sacrifice himself with no emotion and then to have the family move on like nothing happened, I think is just stupid. For me, money, I understand the ratings 100%. I'm going to go a little higher than you here. I'm going to go a 4.5. And this was an absolute miss. It was still fun talking about it. I always love not having any clue what your score is going to be. We were close here, and we still
Mhm.
have not matched on a score. I'm waiting for that day to happen. It may never happen. Who knows?
Who knows, dude? For all of our listeners, thank you. Stay tuned weekly for our episodes. So, and make sure again, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, TikTok, at Scratching the Surface 100. Check them out. Stay tuned. We appreciate you all. Junes, it's been a pleasure.
The pleasure of my life, money.
So, with that, we've been scratching the surface with Night Swim. I don't recommend it, but you guys have a good day. Love you.